Yeah, there's a lag. There's always a lag.
So what's up? Huh?
You said there's a lag?
It's past 2:00.
Yeah. Shall we start? Don't worry about it. If you click go live, we start.
Yeah, it says it's live too. So it should be.
Mm. Welcome to Angela Wayne Show, episode 2. In today's episode, we have our special guest who has owned a serious business with creative financing. He's an influential real estate investor, and he also has a very humble personality and really want to help as many people to successful as possible. So here we have Abraham Gray.
What's up, Angela? It's good
Hi.
to see you, of course.
Good to see you. Happy to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. So should we tell everyone how we met?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
All right. So we've actually known each other for multiple years since you've joined Sub2 and Pace Morby's group, but we actually met for the first time when in Arizona, in Phoenix.
That's right.
So we both went to an event in Phoenix, one of Pace Morby's events. That's when we became good friends.
Yeah, that's right.
And since then, we've been talking all the time.
Mhm.
You've come to my event in Tampa, and Pace was at that one as well. And now you're hanging out with me for a week for spring break.
Yeah, really learned a lot of things from you, how you run the business, how you value the business. Very valuable opportunity.
All right. Well, I'm here. So let's ask anything. Go.
Sure. A lot of people on the stream right now, they probably know of you, but they don't know so much about you. And obviously, there are some people really want to know more about you. So how about start with, how you start with business, start with real estate?
So as far as how I started with business, back when I was 15, I started my first business. And that was a business that I was really passionate about, that, I had a lot of experience in. So I collected sports cards my whole life. And when I was 15, I turned that into a business. So I made, I was making pretty good money while I was in high school. And by the time, I was 19, I was able to save over $1 million in my bank account.
Wow, if you people on the stream at the 19, Abraham already saved out $1 million.
Yeah. I remember looking at the bank account. I was like, yeah, $1 million, cool, because that was my goal. And then once I hit $1 million, I'm like, all right, next goal is, whatever. But so I just kept doing good. When I was like 15, I was making, a few $100 to $1,000 a week when I was doing really well. But then by the time I was 16, I was making 1,000 plus a week, and 17, 2,000, 3,000 a week, 18, even more. And by the time I was 19, I was making a lot. And I just saved all my money and got into other businesses as they came about. And then when I was 22 is when I bought my first property. And since then, I've bought thousands of properties. And as you know, right now I have at least a few hundred that I still have right now that I have as rentals and even some fix and flips. And I just keep buying more and more. And of course, I probably have over 100 creative deals in real estate, which are like subject twos and owner finances. And, I also buy a lot of cash deals.
Yeah. So a lot of people here, they probably come from a real estate investment background. So can you tell about, because normally I see a lot of deals every day.
Yeah.
But I notice when people evaluate the property, they look at the comp, they look at ARV, they are doing a pretty good job. But on the other hand, on the cash flow side, how to evaluate the real estate as a business, whether it's rental, whether it's government subsidized program, is a business. How do we run this as a business?
So it's really simple once you understand it. Basically, a business is worth a multiple of how much it makes in a year, right? A profit. So, the businesses that I target are businesses that are, doing in revenue growth somewhere between $500,000 to $10 million a year in sales, which equates to like 100,000 plus profit. So anywhere from 100,000 to potentially a couple $1 million a year in profit. And those types of businesses go anywhere from like a 2 to 4 times multiple of what it makes in profit. So the lower that a business makes, the lower the multiple. So like on a business that's making 150,000 a year, that's one that's going to go somewhere between 2 and 3 times. A business that's making $1 million a year will probably go 3 to 4, maybe even sometimes 5 times, because it's a much better business.
So how do we do that mind shift? Now, when I look at the Airbnb, I no longer look at it as a real estate. It's actually a business.
Yeah.
What's that mind shift like? If I'm looking at this from real estate perspective to a business, how does it affect the underwriting, your analysis?
You're talking about if you're doing Airbnbs or just any business?
Just anything in general.
Any business. Okay. So basically you just, instead of like comping the properties and knowing what, that area and what the properties go for, you have to really dig deep into the P&Ls, the profit and loss statements, and then check the tax returns, check their bank accounts to make sure there's no shady stuff going around. Almost every single person that I bought businesses from and has sent me financials, there's always weird stuff in there. So you got to like sort through to see what's like real and what's bullshit, right? So it's just knowing how to tell what people are trying to get over on you on and what they're not. With real estate, you could just go to a house, you can inspect it, you basically know, okay, it's going to cost me $40,000 to rehab it. And you might be off a little bit, but you're going to be somewhat close. In business, you really got to know your stuff, and you got to know how to underwrite, or how to be able to tell if the financials are right and what questions you need to ask if something doesn't look right, because that is something you could be way off on if the numbers, you're not doing your due diligence correctly.
Right, that's right. Yeah. So for the real estate, people go to MLS, maybe talk to the agent. But when it's come to the business, how do we find those opportunities?
Yeah. So as far as finding businesses, it's also very similar actually to real estate. You could find them off market or on market, just like real estate. What I would say is with real estate in particular, like I probably buy 99% of my properties off market. I really like buying off market properties. It's only like 1% of what I buy is on market. The more creative deals I buy, the higher that rate goes, because I do buy creative deals that are on market, but like cash deals, very little on market. It's just for a lot of different reasons. But when it comes to business, I probably buy 25%, maybe even 30% on market. So I still buy 70% off market, but I'm buying a lot higher percent on market. And so with real estate, obviously everyone knows the MLS, but with businesses, there's multiple different sites that show, different businesses that are for sale. I would say the most common one and popular one is called bizbuysell.com.
So take a note of
bizbuysell.com.
bizbuysell.com.
It's bizbuysell.com. And that you could search in there, and it has by state, it has by city, by county, by revenue, how much money it does, by industry. Really, you could search for anything on there. And what I see is that most businesses on there are inflating their numbers, or there's just like a lot of BS you got to go through. So you got to know how to spot that stuff and be able to weed it out. But ultimately, when I buy stuff on market, even the 25-30% I buy on market for businesses, I have a strategy of how to do that. And I wait a certain amount of time for them to be on the market. Like when a business first goes on the market, it's very hard to buy it because they're expecting all this money, and they usually have a business broker, and the business broker is telling them all this BS, so they believe them. And then 6 months, 10 months down the road, when nothing happened the way the business broker said it was going to happen, that's when they become more motivated and they start trusting me more. And almost every business I bought on market has been on the market for 10 plus months.
10 plus months.
Yeah.
That's actually it's going to be the sweet spot.
That's the sweit spot for me. So 10 months plus, like 2 years is unbelievable, So a crazy statistic is that over 90% of businesses that are on the market never sell. And
90% on market
over
now
90,
selling.
over 90%.
Over 90.
Yeah, like on the MLS, like almost 99% probably sell. On market for businesses, it's like 8 or 9% sell. That's it. 8% of the businesses listed for sale. So that just shows you that as they become on the market for so long, they only have a few opportunities. They only have a few options, right? They either have to keep running it, which they don't really want to. That's why they have it on the market in the first place. Or they could liquidate it and probably get very little, or they shut it down, which they basically get almost nothing. So at the fourth option is the option to basically work some sort of creative deal with you, or whatever deal that you want to work with them, as long as you're fair and you could show them that it makes sense. That's really their only option besides just keeping it or shutting it down.
So do you wait after 3 months mark pass over, or do you start to contact them, build a relationship, and then after 10 months you start to get serious?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So what I usually do is if I see something that I like, I'll introduce myself, I'll talk to them and kind of see how motivated they are or see what their plans are. And a lot of times I'll talk to them right away or within a few months, but I know that I'm not going to make that deal happen. It's too hard. It's too hard in the beginning, but I'll definitely see, because, sometimes it's possible, but it's very rare. And then, I let them know that I'm interested. I let them know all the different things I'm doing. And eventually they'll, 6 months down the road, they'll call me. So like most businesses I bought also that are on market or even off market, I didn't buy them the first time I reached out to the person, or second time, or third time.
Yeah.
Literally, sometimes I've sent, mail to people, I've emailed people, I've called people, I've, looked at on-market businesses, and sometimes I'll get a call back 6 months, a year down the road, and they're like, you know what? I remember you from 6 months ago. I wasn't ready at that time, or I thought I could get more, and I didn't believe you. And now I believe you because I see, my broker was full of shit, or, my expectations were unrealistic. And so most of the time I'm able to buy a business, it's much later down the road when I've contacted them a bunch of times, and then they came back to me because I am their best option. A lot of times I'm their only option, but I'm definitely almost always their best option.
And you talked to me, actually, the business is actually more profitable than owning a piece of real estate.
Oh,
Can
big
you-
time. Yeah. Businesses are way more profitable. So, for instance, like I have, hundreds of rental properties, and, my average cash flow on a rental property is like $300-400, maybe $500. And I have like somewhere between 35 and 40 businesses right now. My average cash flow per business right now is somewhere between 15 and 20,000 a month. So we're talking like
Wow.
$400 a month to like, $18,000 a month. So it's a big difference.
Yeah,
And
worth 400 versus 18,000.
Yeah.
That's quite a big difference.
yeah, quite as, and
Mhm.
I have some businesses that, are in the, not doing as good, that are making, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month. But I have some businesses that make over 100,000 a month. So that's the other great thing about business, is that with real estate, when you're renting property, there's a cap of how much money you can make, right? Like the rental rates go up every year a little
Yeah.
bit, but they're not going to go from 400 to 3,000,
Right.
they're not going to go up like crazy, right? So like, yeah, you might start making a little bit more. And there's a cap of how much you can make on a property. But on a business, you could buy a business making, $150,000 a year, and within a year you could have it making $1 million. There's no cap. Like, maybe on a franchise there's a certain cap, because franchises, there's only so much you could do. But if you have a business that is not a franchise, which are basically 90% of my businesses, there's so many ways to grow that business, either with different marketing, they're adding different products, or what I like the most is doing these bolt-on acquisitions, which is like buying competitors and other businesses that are similar to mine, and literally just grow my business like exponentially. So there's no cap. That's what I love about it. And you can be as creative as you want. Like with real estate, there's different laws that you could or can't do this and that. With business, you really, the sky's the limit. There's nothing that you can't do. There's almost no regulations. And as long as the buyer and seller agree, you can really do anything.
Yeah. And also just the residential lease, there's a lot of law, tenant law you have to abide
Yeah.
by, but when it comes to commercial lease, there's
Yeah.
almost nothing.
Yeah, there's almost nothing. Yeah, so it's just you have a lot more freedom to do what you want. And the other thing is, with business, there's a lot more ways to get money, right? Obviously in real estate you can get conventional loans, there's hard money loans, you can borrow money from friends or private money, whatever. In business, there's so many more ways to get money. There's all kinds of new strategies that come into play that don't really come into play with real estate.
Yeah, when it comes to money, I think a lot of people hesitate to enter the business is because they think about the initial capital will be so much higher than real estate. But actually a lot of time it's not true.
It's much lower. Yeah, it's much lower, especially percent wise. So like the typical traditional loan that you go to the bank and get, you're putting down 25, 30% for a rental property, and they're financing 70%, let's say. In business, if you go the traditional way, which I like to be more creative and not go the traditional way, but if you were to go the traditional way, the SBA loans will give you 90% of the value. So you only have to come up with 10%, and they cash flow like really well.
Yeah, not only 90%, sometimes they have forgiveness programs.
Oh yeah,
basically you don't have to pay back.
Yeah, there's all kinds of programs that you could do, especially like for certain areas, for certain races, for certain ethnicities. They have all kinds of extra programs because they want to see certain areas grow, and they want to see everyone do good. So they have all these great incentives.
So now, since the opportunity to make more money in business is so much better than the real estate, now the question is, I go to talk to the owners, or I go to the website. So what kind of industry should I look at?
Yeah, so everyone's probably going to look at it something different. What I would say is you want to look at what you have a lot of experience in, what you've done before, what you're very passionate about, what you enjoy doing. Those are the businesses that you should target, and those are the businesses that you're going to do really well at. If you go after a business that, let's say, I could do really well at, but it's something you don't know much about, or you don't like that industry, you're not going to do good at it, even though I'm going to do good at it.
Mhm.
But there might be something that you are really good at and enjoy that I might not, and I probably can't do that business as well as you. So
Mhm.
it's a little bit different for everyone, but I would definitely search for only profitable businesses and in niches that you're good at and experienced at and that you're going to really enjoy.
And what if I don't have the experience that but I feel passionate about them?
So I have people ask me that all the time. What if I don't have experience in something? What do I go after? Everybody has experience in something. I mean, I could talk to anybody and they're like, even people that come to me like, I have no experience in anything. I figure out what they have experience in.
Mhm.
And it might not be in a particular business, but what are your hobbies? What do you enjoy doing? What do you do for fun? What have you learned? What do you help people? And then you could correlate that stuff to different types of businesses that you do really well at.
Mhm. And or people, if you want to do some business but you don't have the experience, then you can partner people like Abraham who has a bit
Yeah.
experience.
So if you really
Mhm.
don't have any experience, which I call bullshit, everybody has, but let's just say you don't. Yeah, you find people to partner with, you find people to work with, and whatever your strengths and weaknesses are, and whatever theirs are,
Mhm.
you just kind of work together, and between everybody, you're really strong at most stuff.
Mhm. Yeah. So let me say now I pin down industry that I want to explore. So I've got some opportunities. Then I see the profit and loss all these statement, have all the information. So how do I get even started to analyze it?
Yeah, so that would be the first thing. You would get all the P&Ls, and before you even go to get the P&Ls, once you're talking to a business owner or potentially a broker, but hopefully the actual business owner, they're going to want you to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement,
Mhm.
and that's basically going to make them comfortable for them to give you the financials. Because a lot of people are like, well, why are the business owners just going to give me financials? Well, if someone's trying to sell their business, it's not sellable unless somebody looks at their financials. So you're definitely going to get it if they're selling the business, but they want to feel comfortable that you're not going to use that information against them. So really what they want is they want to make sure that you're not showing these numbers to their competitors, to their employees and stuff like that. Those are probably the most important things. So when you sign this non-disclosure, you're basically saying that, look, I'm the only one that's going to look at it. And, maybe my accountant or attorney or partner, but besides those people, no one else is going to see this stuff. And, hopefully we can make a deal. But if we don't make a deal, I'm going to shred it and no one's going to see it. So that's all. That's pretty much the way to start. And then once you look at the financials, then you go through, how much money does it take in? How much, are the cost of the goods or services? And then all the different expenses they have. And you just go through it all and you make sure that it makes sense. And, you look from month to month, year to year to make sure nothing's going up or down like crazily. That's just like a red flag. And you figure out, is there ways for you to improve it? Can you lower some costs? Can you add some different sales for different things? And then at the end, you'll see like what the net profit is. And that's how you base your offer and base how much you want to pay for it. And of course, the more that someone is going to be, give you some owner finance, or the more owner finance someone gets, the higher the multiple I pay. If somebody wants all cash, maybe I pay 2 times the multiple. If somebody's going to owner finance, 40%, maybe I pay 3 times. If they owner finance 75%, maybe I give them 4 times. If they owner finance 90%, maybe I give them 5 times what it's worth. So because the cash flow is really the most important thing. Like when we're buying all these creative deals in real estate, what we really care about is the cash flow every single month that you make on the rental or the Airbnb or the rooming home or whatever you're going to do with it. Well, it's the same thing with a business. What I care about is the cash flow. So as long as I'm making money on it with the terms that I do, I could pay more if the terms are better.
Yeah, one piece of valuable information I learned from you was before when we were thinking about a seller finance, we think about, okay, this seller would get a certain fixed amount every month for a number of months or a number of years. But you actually structured in a way that the seller actually get a percentage of the profit that I will keep them more motivated to stay with you to make sure the business is right, is true.
So you could structure your deal all kinds of different ways. Yeah, you could make a set offer and pay the owner exact amount, or you could say, look, you want $1 million. I want to pay you $500,000. I'll tell you what. Why do you want $1 million for it? Explain to me. Why do you think it's worth $1 million? And they'll be like, it's worth $1 million because I know the sales are going to grow and you're going to do better because I know all these different things are coming. So what I'll do is in that case is do something called an earnout. And with an earnout, what I do is I say, look, I'm guaranteeing you 500,000, but if your business actually does what you're saying and actually grows and makes this extra money that you're thinking it's going to make, then you will have the potential to make up to $1 million or maybe more. So there is a structure that you can do that if you guys can't agree on a price, is that you basically guarantee them a certain amount with an upside if the business does what they think it's going to do and you're not sure that it's going to do. And then they actually have that motivation to help you get better. So that's really good. I love earnouts because besides the fact that you're not committed to have to give it to them, but there's a big upside for the person selling it to you to help you and to make your business even more successful because they'll make more money as well.
Which one do you find to be easier to get the deal done, to paying the fixed amount or paying the percentage of profit?
So I would say that 85% of the deals I do, there's a fixed amount. But like when you're just at like the negotiating stage and you're pretty much done and you just can't agree on that final number, you're close enough, but you just can't get there, then we have to throw in these earnouts. So I mean, I've thrown in earnouts probably about 15% of the time. And they work really well for everyone. Like I said, it's beneficial for the person selling it to you because they'll get their number if what they're telling you is true and you're actually going to do what they say. And it's good for you too, because you're not expecting to do that type of number. So if you are that number, I'm happy to pay somebody more money if I'm doing better than I think I'm going to do. But usually that comes into play with certain types of sellers. So it depends on who you're dealing with. You got to know who you're dealing with and what's more important to them. So the most important thing with negotiating, whether it's real estate, business, cars, or anything else, is figuring out what the most important thing is to the person selling it to you. Sometimes it's the money, sometimes it's something else. And once you figure out what it is, then that's what you have to structure it for, to have them feel like they won and got what they wanted and what they needed.
Yeah. And also, what if they don't have a consecutive couple years of profit and losses? I've encountered several deals that come to my table, but they only own this for a few months, or they owned it for the last few years, but because of COVID, the business shut down. And now what's the approach to
so that's a good question. So basically, if someone doesn't have, so I always want to get the last 3 years of financials, right, to review. And usually I'll do some sort of average. Usually the numbers are pretty close and I'll do some sort of average. Like if 1 year is way higher, one lower, then, that's a whole nother story. We have to figure out why. But if they don't have the last 3 years, then it's really only a couple of things you can do. First off, I need to know why. Is it a new business or is it a business? If it's a new business, then you got to be really careful. I'm only going after businesses really that have been around for a while. So
for a while, meaning like it was.
I would say I 5 years plus.
5 years plus.
10 years is where you're like really good. 10 years is like ideal, but I would say a minimum of 5 years is pretty much every business I've bought has been around for a minimum of 5 years. Now, if they've been around for 5 years, they should have the last 3 years financials. Now, the reason why they wouldn't is because it's like a maybe an all cash deal or mostly cash business, right? So like I've looked at some nail salons before, and they're like, look, we did $1 million in sales, but on their P&Ls it shows they did 200,000. So where's the other 800,000? Oh, everyone pays cash, but they don't report it. They don't do any of that. So like as far as I'm concerned, they only did 200,000. So the only way to buy those types of businesses is either to do basically an earn out type deal or like an owner finance type deal where you're paying them a certain percent of the profit. Like I would never pay them money based on the cash that they're taking in if they don't claim it. If they claim it, then it could make sense. But if they're not claiming it, either you're buying a business that's committing a lot of tax fraud or you're buying a business that the owner is just lying to you. So, you got to be careful. So the way to protect yourself on those types of deals is to pay them a very small amount of money up front and pay them, over the next 3, 5, whatever years that you guys agreed to based on the real numbers that it's doing. The other thing you can do is you could, if you know that industry really well, then maybe you'll know more if it makes sense. And you could have like, you could have like a friend of yours or maybe even you yourself work in that business for a month, 3 months, 4 months before you buy it and see, for yourself if they are really doing that much cash and stuff like that. And then maybe you could give them a little bit more because you could see it. But typically I wouldn't give them anything based on money that they're not claiming. And if they don't have P&Ls, the only thing I would do is some sort of like long owner finance type deal over a long period of time. We're paying them basically part of the profit after I own the business, knowing what I'll be like, look, I'll take your word for it. You're doing this amount of money. Fine. but I'm only going to pay you on it after that I know and I'm sure of it, after I have it for a while.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good strategy. So the earn out is definitely a good strategy for this kind of.
Oh, for that type of business,
yeah,
you almost have to do an earn out, or you have to
Mhm.
do like major owner finance type deal.
Mhm. Yeah. So if for people when start to learning about this, analyzing this, but if they get stuck, how do they get help? Are they going to be contact you or how do they get
yeah.
some kind of advice?
So, there's a lot of different ways. First off, what most people do is they hire an accountant, right? They hire an accountant and that specialize is in M&A, merger and acquisition or business. And they can go through it and figure it all out like really fast. Like, they've looked at millions of these things. So once they
Mhm.
see it, but if you don't want to hire an accountant, you're not, don't have the money to, or you're not at the point yet where it's that important, ask some of your friends, if they've owned businesses or if they've done this stuff and see if they could help you. And of course, you could buy different, courses. You can watch some of my YouTube videos, other people's YouTube videos.
Mhm.
And of course we do, I do like a few business masterminds every single year. And I go through that stuff. And then, if anybody wants to come to one of those, we'll go through it like crazy and you'll really understand it. And we'll give you like all the books and all the materials so you could review it as many times as you want. And actually all the recordings so you could watch them over and over. And at these masterminds, you can ask unlimited amounts of questions and, we're going to answer everything, and anything that you're not sure about, we'll definitely. And then we have a Facebook group that you could join and ask questions and we'll help you afterwards, stuff like that. But I mean, watching YouTube videos, asking an accountant, asking your friends, buying, into a mentorship or coming to masterminds, those are the ways to learn.
Yeah, your coming one is in June.
Yeah. The next one is in 3 months. It's June 23rd, 4th, and 5th in Newark, New Jersey. And it'll be me, Carl, Alan, Pace Morby, and Chris Moore. So and you'll be there too.
Yeah. And then I know a lot of people will returning to your mastermind.
Yeah. First off, you learn so much of these, but let's just say you learn nothing. It's still worth coming, which obviously you're going to learn a ton, but it's still worth coming just because of the networking and the connections and the deals that everybody makes with other people that are there are unbelievable. But forget about all that even. Let's say there was no networking. Let's say you learn nothing. How much fun did you have? How much fun is it?
That's tremendous. It
I mean,
was so much fun.
It's crazy. So besides the fact that, we do everything, all day, then every single night we go out and we party and we have fun and we network. But I mean, just like you can't even buy a vacation for the price of this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah.
It was really life-changing.
Yeah. And this is the 4th year we're doing them. So I started in 2020. Now we're this is 2020, 21, 22. Yeah, 4th year, 2023.
So how have you perfected your program over the
So
this
every
time?
single time I do an event, I figure out, what I could have done to make it a little bit better. And that's how it progressed until what it is today, right? My first ones back in 2020 had like, a dozen people. And then 2021, then I started having like 50 people. And then from there on, the last whole bunch, I had 100 people at every event. And then the last event was the first one I had 200. So going forward, we're targeting to have 200 people. And what I did was I used to do all these events 100% on my own. Like I was the one speaking the whole time and teaching everything. It was all my content and everything that I've experienced and learned over my life. And then I started having guest speakers. And I was realized, you know what? Let me do some of these events with other people because they could learn my perspective and everything I know, plus everybody else's perspective and everything else that everybody else knows. So the last event that you came to, that was the first event that wasn't like my event. That was the first event that was like, I was doing that with Carl and that was our event together. And the next event, Pace is going to be there too. So Pace is going to talk about a lot of his experience with business. Like he's actually just started buying businesses as well. And obviously everyone knows he's the creative finance genius really with anything. So yeah, it all fits together. And, the more people there are to speak, the more perspectives you're going to get. And then, we started off not going out after, like my first events, we never went out afterwards and networked. Then we started going out like one night, then now we go out 2 nights. And now we're actually going out 3 and 4 nights. Even the day after the event's over, we do some crazy stuff. So, like last event, we went skydiving.
That's really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. So, most of us never did it before. We're like, yeah, we're probably never gonna do it. And we just did it. And, we're gonna have something crazy. We're gonna do every single Monday after the event, going forward.
Yeah. I really learned that the energy from you. It's not just diving from the sky and also the energy. being able to take risk, calculated risk.
Yeah.
That's what really needed when we evaluate businesses.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, yeah, that's basically how I would structure any deal, though, as far as looking at financials and if someone doesn't have financials, what you have to do. But it's very, very risky to buy a business from someone that doesn't give you any numbers, because then you don't know. That's like saying, here, buy my house, but I'm not going to give you the address, and I'm not going to let you look at what it looks like, but just buy it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. You know what I mean? So you have to see the financials. So that's how you value it.
Yeah. Talking about the risk. So what are the risks you can see for house? You can get a foreclosed on, you may lose a house, but for the business, what are the possible
So depending
risks?
on how you finance the business, I mean, the same type of stuff could happen. Whoever is loaning you money on a business is going to have a lien on either the whole business together, or they're going to have liens on parts of the business, right? They'll have liens on the equipment, or liens on the inventory, or liens potentially on the accounts receivable, or different things like that. But you always want to make sure that when someone loans you money on something, that they have good collateral and they feel safe loaning you the money. Like, you should never loan money to someone unless you feel comfortable that you're going to get the money back or have good collateral. So it's the same thing with business. You give people good collateral. And again, you could do all kinds of different structures. Like, you could just borrow money and pay them interest. But with business, it's even fun sometimes to give someone some of the upside. So like, you're like, look, I'll pay this much interest, but also give you, a certain percent of the profit potentially. And, that's kind of works out for a lot of people like that better. And, again, the upside is endless on a business. So you never really know how much you can make when you're doing that. But there's all kinds of partnerships you can do when borrowing money. And then if you're going the most traditional route, which is going and getting SBA loan, they'll give you a loan for 90% of the business, and the SBA will actually have a lien on the whole business. And those liens, like, if you don't pay, they'll take your business. And that's the only loan that you actually have to personally guarantee, an SBA loan. So, you got to make sure that you're really buying a good business. What's really cool, though, is when you're buying a business and you're getting an SBA loan, besides you doing all the due diligence and hopefully, having your attorney and accountant look through stuff, the before you get the loan, the SBA program will actually do their own due diligence. So they're going to make sure that, they're putting all their money up. They want to make sure that their collateral is good, but they're also going to help you to make sure that you're not overpaying, or there's some red flags. They'll bring it up and ask you about it. So you could, ask the owner themselves. It's just like when you're getting a loan for a property, they're going to appraise it, and they're only going to loan you a certain amount of the appraisal because they need good collateral. So, like, if you want to buy a property and it's only worth 100,000 and you're paying cash, yeah, you might pay 120,000 for it because you have nobody that's, you don't have to get an appraisal or anything else. Maybe you just don't know what you're doing. But if you're getting a loan, they're going to get an appraisal on it, and they're not going to let you pay 120. They're going to save you from making that mistake. They'll be like, look, it's only worth 100. We're going to loan you 80. And now you can't make that big mistake. So it's the same thing when you're getting a loan from a bank on a business. They're not going to let you overpay, really.
So basically, you get some professional help during the process that you're getting the loan.
Yeah, 100%. You should get professional help in anything that you do. Now, once you've done it enough, you might not need that professional help anymore. But in the beginning, until you're super comfortable, have done it a lot, yeah, you should always get professional help so you don't make mistakes.
So what are the common pitfalls you have seen when people either analyzing the deal or buying the deal, owning the deal, or managing the business?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of pitfalls that can happen. I would say if you don't do enough due diligence and you got tricked into something, then you have a business that you thought was going to do, $1 million, that's only doing half that, and then you've overpaid. So it all comes down to doing a lot of due diligence. And if there's some stuff you're not sure about, that's why you don't want to pay, all the money up front. This is why that people don't pay for businesses all up front. Like in real estate, there's, most deals are cash deals. Like most properties I buy over the years have been cash deals. I pay 100%, but there's not really much that can go wrong. Maybe I did an inspection and I screwed up and, it cost a little bit more. With a business, you could really screw up. So you can never pay 100% full price for a business, almost ever, because of a lot of different reasons. But one of the reasons is what you just brought up. What if I made a mistake and I didn't do the right due diligence and the guy tricked me? Now I have this business that's worth way less than what, I valued it at, what I paid. So because, that you have this owner finance component to it, there's a lot less likely that the owner is going to screw you and actually, fake stuff and put you in a bad situation where you're going to overpay. Because in the contract, when you buy it from them, you're going to tell them, look, if all these numbers you gave me aren't accurate and you tricked me or lied to me, then I'm not going to owe you any money. So like you have to owe them a decent amount of money in owner finance to make them incentivized to not want to screw you. Right. So that's one reason why you don't ever pay, all cash for a business. But another big reason why you would never pay all cash for a business is because in real estate, you inspect it and you kind of know what you have to do. And it's pretty simple for the most part. In business, like there's so many things that come up. You can't really, inspect it and know everything. Like some stuff comes up 3 months later, 6 months later, a year, even years down the road. And you're going to need the previous owner to help you with some stuff. There might be customers that only buy stuff from you once a year. There might be customers you have special deals with that, you have to know all this stuff. And you might have, employees that you have special deals with or vendors, and you got to know all this stuff. And sometimes it doesn't come up, until that, Christmas time, when that's the only time these people place the order. So if you were to pay somebody all cash and you want to go back to the seller and be like, look, I need help. Like we didn't go through this. We forgot, or I didn't know to ask you about this customer. If they are paid in full, the odds of them helping you is very slim. But if you owe them a significant amount of money, they're going to help you with as much as you want, So, and of course, when you buy the business, you are going to put in the contract that they have to help you for a certain amount of time anyway. But if you owe them money, they're going to help you basically forever until you pay them off, to some degree, because it's to their best interest.
And normally, how long do you hold that? 5 years or 7 years? Or 7
I would say the average owner finance that I do with business is about 5 years. Now I've done some, 3 years. I've done some up to 20 years. But I would say the average is 5 years. I'd always shoot for at least 5 years, because at 5 years you're making good money. Because most businesses that we're buying, we're paying, let's just say 3 times the multiple. Like usually I'm paying a little bit less, but let's just say I'm paying 3 times the multiple. What that means is in 3 years, if I kept no money every single year, like zero, in 3 years is paid off. So in 3 years is paid off. But I don't want to like not make money every month because I'm working, I want to make some money. So if you do 5 years, you're pretty much paying the owner half, or however you're financing it, you're paying half the money you're making to your debt, to pay off whatever the loans are. And then the other half you're keeping. So once you're at 5 years, you're making a substantial amount of money for what's coming in. You're keeping close to half of it. If you could do it for more than 5 years, then that's incredible. Then, you're making a ton of money. But yeah, if you're doing a 3-year loan, you're not really cash flowing anything typically if you're paying 3 times or close. And if anything goes wrong, you might have to come out of pocket. So 5 years is pretty good and pretty safe. But yeah, if you can get 7-10 years, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's actually definitely not all of a sudden helped me a lot. At least helped me a lot about why these 7 years to the benchmark.
Yeah. And 7 years is common. It's not like uncommon. And a lot of times people do 10 years. Like I said, I bought one business where they did 20 years, which is incredible. Like in real estate, 30 years is common, but like in business, 5 years is the most common, 7 years, 10, 3. But yeah, make it as long as possible. And the longer you do it, the more you could pay somebody. And I actually have like a chart that shows you, look, if you were to pay 100,000 for a business over 3 years, or 200,000 over, 10 years, or, 300,000 over 20, you see that it's way better to pay more money for the business over a longer period of time, because you're just making so much more money every single month. So again, the price and the terms are the 2 most important things. But if you can get the terms the way you want it, you could pay a lot higher price. And you could, most people that I deal with, look at the price a lot more than the terms. Like that's like a set. They have this number that they want a lot of times. In business, it's not always about the numbers. A lot of times it's about other stuff. Like people really care about their legacy, the name of the business, that you make sure that you keep it in good standing. They really care about their employees a lot. They care, but like in real estate, it's more about the number. So again, people are so set on that number. You just give them the number that they want, but you make the terms a little bit better for you, so you can give them the number you want. So it's just a back and forth, figuring out how to structure it.
Right. So when we purchase real estate, we always have the exit strategy in our mind. So when you evaluate this business before you even buy it, do you have a timeline? How many years you hold it before you sell it?
Yeah. So a lot of people have a timeline that they're like, look, I'm buying this business, and my exit strategy is to sell it in 3 years or 5 years when I grow it. And, because, you make good money every single month with a business, way more than real estate, as I showed you. But Where you make the big money is when you sell it. So a lot of people like look for that exit and they're like, look, let me grow it to a certain amount. I only paid 2 or 3 times, but I can grow it to this and I can get 5 times. So you make a big chunk of money when you sell it. For me, most of the businesses I buy, I don't really go in there with a particular exit strategy. I just like cash flow. So I go in there and I just want to keep making money every single month. Now, I try to buy businesses that, I'm a little bit, I enjoy or a little bit passionate about, or at least my partner is. So they're kind of fun. So I don't really go in there thinking, okay, in 5 years I'm going to sell it, or 10 years I'm going to sell it. What I go in there is I'm going to cash flow as much as I can, grow this as much as I can, have as much fun with this business as I can, try to buy other businesses and grow it, try to buy bolt-ons. And then, you know what, when I get bored with this business, or I got a really good offer from someone, then I'll sell it. Like, unless I get like a really good offer, or I'm just get like tired of the business, I really don't ever look to sell them. I just keep them. But there are businesses all the time that I do get tired of. And I get tired of them for a lot of different reasons. But at that point, I'm like, all right, this is time to sell. And the more tired I am, the more motivated I am. So the better a deal I'll give someone. Like, if you come to buy one of my businesses that I really enjoy and I'm not tired of and I like that business, I'm going to want like on the really, really high side for that business. And I'm going to want almost all the money up front because I don't really want to sell it. But the businesses that I'm ready to sell because, I'm burned out on them, or I don't enjoy them anymore, or whatever, for whatever reason, I'll do like a crazy owner finance deal on those. I just don't want it. So like, if you give me anything reasonable and I trust you and, I feel like you're going to be able to pay me, then I'll do all kinds of crazy creative stuff because I'm super motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. Buying real estate, buying business, whatever it is, it's always about the motivation, because that's really how you structure the
Yeah, I mean, if someone's motivated, you're going to be able to get good terms. You're going to be able to get good price. But if someone's not motivated, you basically have no shot.
Yeah. So on the website you just mentioned, most of them actually still say no seller finance. So how difficult it is for you to convert from people who do not want to do seller finance to accept this?
I've gotten every single business that I've ever bought to do some sort of owner finance. Now, some businesses maybe only 10%, some businesses 50%. I've had businesses do 100%, right? But as far as getting someone to do 100%, that's kind of hard. I get some businesses, every year or so that do that, but I also know tons of people that, I've taught how to do it, or that I know that have done it. So I know like there's plenty of them out there, but you might have to go through 100 businesses to find that one that will do it. But as far as just doing any owner finance, that's not that hard. Obviously you want to get as much as possible. So I've had plenty of people do 50%, 70%. That's not very hard. 30%, 20% gets pretty easy. So, and less is real easy. Now, again, it's going to go based on how motivated the seller is, but, you gotta, what I teach is how to target motivated sellers and how to tell if a seller is motivated and what types of people to go after. So that's part of it. If you're going after the wrong type of people, then, it's going to be very hard. But if you're only going after the right types of people, then it's not going to be that hard at all.
So what are the traits between the good type of people that's worth our time to target versus people who are just kind of we should pass on?
Yeah. So the best type of people to target are a lot of it's very similar to real estate. I know like everyone that knows you, knows you're in real estate. So you have a lot of real estate people, but it correlates a lot. Like, people that are going through divorce are very motivated. People that are sick, or family members that just died, people that are about to retire are probably the number one people to go after. And so, I mean, I would always target people in that retirement age because, they got to retire. They don't want to work, for the rest of their life. And those people are very motivated. And usually they don't have kids or family members to pass the business down to, because the business isn't a sexy business, and their relatives and kids have something else that's more sexy to do. So they don't even want the business. So they have to sell it. So retired people are very motivated. And then of course, people that are about to move, people that, just are burnt out, like I said, people just get burnt out. A lot of times people have better opportunities. So they will basically say, look, maybe they're making, a few $100,000 a year at this job, but they have another opportunity where they can make double that. That would be a type of person that you'd want to target because they have better opportunities to make more money, or maybe to work less and make the same amount of money, or go to a different part of town that they'd rather live to and they just don't want to. So those are the types of people.
Yeah. I heard from a lot of comments that people say, "Oh, I already have a system for the on the real estate side. Now to move to the business, now I have to allocate my time, my resources, my human resource. Maybe I'm not ready." So, what do you comment on that?
So I would agree with you. If you feel like you're really not ready, you might not be. But what I would say is this: I would say definitely learn how to do real estate and how to do business, and figure out what fits your personality better and what you're going to enjoy more and what you feel is going to be best for you. I hate when people are doing real estate and then start doing business and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to do real estate anymore. I only want to do business." I hate that. Like I do business and real estate constantly all the time. I would actually never give up one to do the other. But some people just are always going to do better in real estate or enjoy real estate more. Some people are always going to do better and enjoy business more. And you don't know till you tried it, right? So learn how to do both and then figure out which one is best. And I would say you could definitely do both at the same time. But it depends on how much time you have, how much resources you have, how big you want to get into it, and figure out what you think you can make the most money on. And that's really what you should target, especially if that's what you enjoy more. Typically, what I see is anyone that makes more money in something typically enjoys that more than, when you make money, you start enjoying stuff. There's stuff that like I never enjoyed, but once I started making money on it, I enjoyed it a lot, So they kind of work hand in hand.
Yeah. Plus, if we don't try, we never know whether we want to do it or not.
Yeah. And the opportunities are endless. So like when you're doing real estate, you're competing with so many people. Like, you're calling a homeowner, there's hundreds of homeowners trying to buy that same home. When you're trying to buy businesses, there's very few people trying to buy a business, right? So for every home out there that somebody has, there's 100 people trying to call and buy that home. But for every 100 businesses out there, there's only one person trying to buy 100 businesses. So like, it's crazy how, the competition is just not there. And you could really negotiate. And once you get them to like you, because building rapport is like the most important thing. Once somebody likes you and trusts you, there's just not much other competition. So you just got to make them a fair offer and you're going to be their best option.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Plus on the real estate side, there are so many different websites, subscription you can utilize. Business, because it's hard. There are not so many regulations, so many available data for us to use. It's actually a great opportunity if we want to get into it.
And again, you can be as creative as you said. This is my logo. Not everything is black and white because you could be as creative as you want, right? If it's black and white, you can only do certain things. But I like, the gray area, which is, I'm Abraham Gray. But
That's
I like being able to be as creative. I'm a creative person. Like so. You can be as creative as you want. I mean, the types of deals, once we start going through my deals, if you watch my YouTube, you'll see like I break down a lot of the businesses I bought, real estate, and how creative I get in some of these. And I'm actually buying 2 businesses this month. So, and super creative again. They're totally different ways that I've actually bought these businesses than I bought any other businesses in the past. And these are businesses making a lot of money that I'm able to actually buy with using none of my money, with different strategies that I haven't used before. So it's really cool. Like you can always come up with new ideas and new strategies, and for the rest of your time, you'll just keep coming up with new creative ideas.
So I know you and Paige are buying Sub2 deals to help all the Sub2 students.
Oh yeah.
So when it comes to buying businesses, would be able to student also reach out to you if they need help?
Yeah. So actually, what I would say is that I'm very big on partners. And 99% of the businesses I have or I've always had partners. Like when I was really young in my teenage years, I didn't have partners, or maybe my early 20s. But I realized you could do so much more with partners and you can make so much more, do less work, or only do the stuff that you enjoy doing and find people that enjoy doing the other stuff. So I'm a big component of partners. And over the last 4 years that I've been teaching all these different events, and I've had, hundreds and hundreds of people that have gone through all these events, I've partnered with a lot of people. So if you come to one of my events, there's a very good chance that, we'll become good friends and we'll do deals together, and we'll definitely be partners on a lot of deals. I mean, I could name a handful of people that you probably know that I'm partners with on deals. A lot of people in Sub2 that I'm actually business partners with on different deals. And I'm partners with Pace on a couple deals.
Right.
But so obviously I'm partners with over 100 people on real estate deals, but even on business deals in people that but I probably at this point had over 80 some partners. So I mean, there's a very good chance that I could partner with you if you are the yin to my yang, or on the vice versa.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of people reach out to me because I I from a business school. I have my MBA degree, and I did some different sectors. But as an employee, I work in the
Mhm.
consulting firm. I work in the finance firm. So they always say, do we have a similar Q&A session like Pace does to
Mhm.
help sub-2 students to analyze the deal? Do we have that kind of platform so that the people can reach out to you or to me to analyze all these deals?
Yeah, so I don't have like a mentorship or anything. I just do these masterminds. They're 3 days or full days. But one of my partners in the masterminds is Carl Allen, and Carl has a mentorship that does exactly, very similar to Sub2 for real estate. He does it for business. So I know a lot of people that after they've come to some of my last couple events, because Carl, we were actually, me and Carl were partners in our last event, but like the event before, he came as a guest speaker, and a lot of people, connected with him and joined his mentorship. And I'm in his mentorship. That's how I met Carl like over 5 years ago. But I've joined a bunch of different mentorships for real estate. I've joined a bunch of different mentorships for business. And Pace's mentorship for real estate by far is 100 times better than anybody else's.
Yeah.
And I love Jamil's too, but Jamil's is more like a wholesaling type mentorship. So if you want to be the best wholesaler, 100%, Astro Flippin, Jamil. But if you just want to be all around the best in real estate, with everything, Pace Sub2 is definitely the best. And then and vice versa with business, the best mentorships that I've ever been to, which is hands down, 10 times better than any other one, was Carl's. And he has like his like number one mentorship is called Protege. And that's what I would join. And then you have support, you have plenty of Zooms every week, you have teams and team leaders, and they'll review your deals, they'll help you with it, and that's really helped a lot of people that I know that are in this program.
Yeah, that's a very, very good program. I take a pick. Yeah. So are there any questions from the audience that we can utilize for the last 5 minutes to answer?
Yes, we have a good amount of questions. So, someone asked here, they said, the first question is, are there any businesses in particular that are more beneficial to buy with an SBA loan?
Yeah. So if you're buying a business and using an SBA loan, you want to have a business that has a good track record and that has really solid financials. So they're going to review them very diligently. So, but as far as industry, like there's certain industries that they won't do, like, they won't do like pawn shops and strip clubs and go, if you have gun stores, some of those types of industries, they're going to be a lot pickier on. They also won't do like non-for-profit businesses. So you got to like figure out what industries, but realistically, as long as it's a good cash flowing business, that's what they're looking for. Businesses that cash flow, that make, a certain amount of money. You could pretty much get a loan for almost any business through the SBA if it's a good business and you could show some experience, doing some stuff that they believe in you.
And I want to add that if you're a minority, you're a women, they have a special program for these kind of people.
Yeah. There's all kinds of special programs for all kinds of minorities, and you should definitely jump on them, and then they even give you more assistance.
Right. Yeah.
And then another question was, why aren't the businesses being sold? Are they overpriced?
So what we talked about earlier is that over 90% of businesses don't get sold every single year. So there's a lot of reasons why they don't get sold. First off is because there's just not many people that know that you could buy businesses. So again, for every home that's for sale, there's 100 people trying to buy it. For every business for sale, some people never even have someone that looks at it because there's just not enough people that know you could buy businesses that look for them. But a lot of them are overpriced. A lot of them, people just want too much. They're not flexible on the terms. And a lot of them, people just don't know how to get the business ready to sell, right? So what I would say is if you want to sell your business, the way to be able to make it sellable is to get it to where the business could run on its own. Meaning that if you want to go on vacation for a month to the beach and not have your phone with you, that the business won't fall apart. So most people that are selling their businesses have it to where if they left for a month, their business would go under. So before you sell a business, you have to make sure that it's a solid business that could last if you're not there. And then it becomes very sellable. And it's very easy to do that with really almost any business. You just, if you know that you want to sell it, there's certain things you have to do. And a lot of people that sell businesses just don't know what to do and know how to do that. So they become not sellable. But again, a lot of it is they want too much. A lot of it is just not a lot of people looking to buy businesses. So now that, business buying in over the last couple of years have become a lot more popular. Hopefully we could see that more businesses will sell.
Yeah, just like a real estate, most homes are overpriced anyway. Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even the seller that wants too much, or the seller that sometimes the buyers that are coming in don't know how to negotiate a good structure for everyone, right?
Yes,
There's
right.
always a way to make the deal happen if it's a profitable business. But and again, even businesses that aren't profitable, I would stay away from those. However, with the exception of if you're taking a non-profitable business and just adding it to a pre-existing business, then it doesn't have to be that profitable, right? So if I have a business, doesn't matter what it is, and there's another business that's very similar but it's not really profitable, I could buy that business and just take the customers, take the employees, take the inventory, and then all of a sudden, even though that business isn't worth much to somebody else, it could be worth a lot to me because I'm just growing my existing business with their customers and everything else. So sometimes they don't target the right types of people or the right places to sell their business.
So not just look at the business itself, and also look at are you buying established customers?
Yeah. Yeah. I love buying businesses just for the customers because that's, marketing and spending all this money. Marketing costs a lot of money, but if I could just get all these customers that I already know I could have, that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, if you're buying another business, you could, cut the rent. If you could get rid of their location, you get rid of the rent, you could get rid of some of the employees, you could get rid of maybe the accounting, you could get rid of utilities, you could get rid of a lot of costs. So a business that's not making much money, if you take it and merge it in with your business, if you have a similar business, you can instantly double, triple, quadruple what that business is worth because you're getting rid of so many of their expenses.
Yeah.
And then you have customers that could buy their products that you don't serve. So there's a lot of cross synergies to where the business becomes worth a lot more. So if you have a business not selling, you should definitely go to competitors and try to sell your business to them because it's worth a lot more to them than to somebody else because again, they could strip it and get rid of all the, a lot of the expenses and just keep the stuff that's really good.
Yeah. Definitely a great creative way to look at the business. Yeah.
Yeah. What other questions we
Any
have?
other questions?
Is artificial intelligence changing the types of businesses you would invest in?
So artificial intelligence isn't changing the way I would buy businesses today, but over the next few years, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of things that change in the industry to where I'm going to target like different types of businesses to some degree, or it'll just make a lot of the businesses that I have now or that I'm targeting now, easier to make them a lot better to where they might be better to buy. But in general, artificial intelligence is going to change the way you do everything, but it's kind of like really new right now. So it hasn't changed a whole lot in the business buying aspect today, but every single, 6 months, every single year, you're going to see significant changes, I think. And then on my YouTube channel, I've made a couple different videos just about AI and how it's changed stuff, but I'm going to keep making new ones every few months because every few months, there's more things that change and the AI gets better and there's all different types of things you can do with it.
And then somebody asked, what are the best types of businesses to buy?
Yeah, so we answered this earlier. So the best types of businesses to buy, again, are going to be, Angela asked me that. So it's
I ask you quite often.
Yeah, it's going to be based on you more, but the main things that I would target is stuff that, you know a lot about, that you're passionate about, that you have experience in, that you really enjoy doing. And those are the types of businesses. But in general, what I would say is, service type businesses are always going to be around. People are always going to need different types of services. But again, figure out what you have experience in, figure out like people that that are close to you that have experience in, and go after those types of things and go after things that you're really passionate about, because those are the things that are going to be the most successful for you and do the best.
Yeah.
And then Abraham, what is your best cash on cash return so far in a business purchase?
I mean, I've had cash on cash returns that you can't even equate because I bought so many businesses with zero money that make a lot of money. So it's infinite. I mean, the best cash on cash returns I have are infinite because I have bought lots and lots of businesses with no money that make hundreds of thousands a year, if not millions a year. And there is no cash on cash return. It's infinite.
Yeah, you are basically using the revenue to pay off to pay the seller. So basically there's no money from.
And again, just go watch my YouTube channel. It's Abraham Gray, Gray, and I post different videos of different businesses that I buy and how I'm able to buy these $1 million businesses with no money and cash flow like crazy, and eventually own them free and clear and don't have then they just make even more money because now I don't have any debt service. But I'm buying a business. So today is April 10th.
Mhm.
So May 1st, I'm closing on a business, right? We're already under contract, everything. May 1st, I'm buying a new business in Atlanta. And this is like a smaller business, actually. It's making like 85,000 a year, which I usually don't buy businesses that are making under 6 figures. But I'm able to buy this business with none of my money, and it's gonna cash flow, like $7,000 a month as soon as I buy it. And I have a really cool creative strategy about how I bought this one. So we'll talk about that more later. But
Yeah.
I'll even make a video about it after I buy it.
Yeah.
So once I buy it, it's official, and then we could talk about it. But yeah, zero money. I'm gonna make 80 some thousand a year. I'm gonna grow it, so I'm really gonna make a lot more, and no money out of pocket. And what's cool about this strategy is not only am I not using any of my money, I'm not using anybody else's money either. So it's a really cool strategy.
That's really the true no money down.
Yeah. So this is a really cool one. It's a different than other. I'll make a video about it once I close.
Yeah.
But and then I have another business that I'm gonna close on probably a month or so later. That is another business that I've been negotiating for a while, and we just came to terms, and we're really close on that one. We have to tweak a few things, but yeah, I'm buying businesses. I teach it, but I'm doing it all the time. Obviously, I buy tons of real estate and businesses as well.
Yeah.
I just had last month, I started one of my really cool businesses, Putt Nation.
Yeah.
You just came to.
Yeah.
So
That's a
like,
great place.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. So we have a full kitchen, alcohol, entertainment, and that was last month. Was our first month, and then the month before that, I bought a business with a couple people that came, 3 people that came to one of my masterminds or different masterminds. We all partnered together and we bought another business together, the 4 of us. So that was a business I bought the month before. That was a cleaning service in Atlanta, and that's pretty cool because that was all people that some of them didn't even know me like 2 years ago, a year ago, really, and they came to Mastermind. Now we're partners.
Yeah, that's a cool thing about networking and coming to this kind of big event. Yeah.
For sure. That's all the
Jordan,
questions?
any other questions?
All right, cool. Because we need to wrap it up anyway.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. So again, thank you very much, Abraham, for your time and the information. And please make sure to subscribe my YouTube, and I'll make sure I always bring valuable guests to come here to share the knowledge.
And you gotta like this video. You gotta comment on other people that you want to see. Right?
Yep.
Who do they want to see in your next video? So figure that out. Comment below. What did you like or not like about this video? And this was your first live one?
This is the second one.
This is the second one. All right, awesome. So yeah, you'll just keep doing it. Just have people comment on what they like, and you'll just the more support you have, the more you're gonna do.
That's right. So we'll support each other. So see you next time.
See you later. Thanks for watching.
Are we off?